right, welcome to One Nation, a Sports Soccer Magazine Extra, and I can't even tell you what kind of program we're going to have tonight because I don't even know. I don't even know. We've got a special treat for you, and I don't know. I mean, I kind of know what it looks like, but you just don't know. And I'm telling you this because, first of all, I'm going to bring on one of the part of this dynamic duo, and that is my awesome son-in-law, Jay Gill, out there in Colorado. Jay, what is happening?
Woo! What's up, Dad? How are you doing?
Woo! Okay, we got a woo.
Woo!
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. How are you doing?
I'm a little bit tired, but I'm gonna be good. I'm good,
Awesome.
and I think
Awesome.
we've got somebody else that's gonna really help you bring the energy tonight. So that'll be great.
Yeah, and his beard doesn't have a lot of gray in it, and I'm really jealous of it cuz he looks
Uh,
glorious.
it looks glorious. All right, that'll be the word, glorious. I think he's got something that he'll probably say right when he comes on, but he'll go with glorious. I think that'll be good. Why
Yeah.
don't you why don't you tell him what we're doing?
Awesome. So tonight, this is a hostile takeover. The Gill brothers are taking over One Nation. This is the Gill brothers, which is me and my brother John. We are part of the Manchild Chronicles, pretty popular podcast out right now. And I'm excited to have my brother John on because we've been watching basketball all weekend and we want to talk March Madness.
You want to bring him on?
Bring him on.
Bring him on. All right. John, look at that nice happy face with
Oh, yeah.
that glorious beard. Welcome.
Look at all of that glory.
It is starting to get a little more gray, and I'm afraid I'm going to look like Jay here. How old did you turn when you started getting all that gray? What was your age?
John, I've had gray hair in my head since I was like 21. My beard really changed over the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years. It just got really gray. Probably around the time I found out I was having child number 5.
Okay, good.
and he and
I have a few child away.
he probably didn't catch any static whatsoever on that either. Oh goodness. It is actually it's gray kind of compared to mine, but you got a lot of red still on there.
He
Looks
dyes
good.
that part though.
Yeah,
He
the
doesn't leave it
sides
does it.
alone.
yeah, I only dye the sides. That's all I do, John. I just keep this nice and red.
Well, what are you guys going to talk about tonight?
Uh,
We are excited to dive into March Madness and how awesome the basketball tournament has been so far. And by awesome, we obviously mean pretty crazy. I don't know if anyone's been following or if they fill out brackets, but my bracket got busted pretty darn early on.
this year I didn't fill out a bracket. I just completely spaced it and forgot, and I'm really glad I didn't.
Yeah, it was done on the first
You're
day, folks.
no, in your head you're like, man, I had the perfect bracket still. I'm telling you, I had all of these called
Yeah,
before
I
the
mean,
game started. I'm telling
everyone's
you, I
like,
knew.
"You didn't." It's a bracket buster. I'm like, "Oh, I predicted that with 30 seconds left in that half. I got. Yep, I knew that was happening."
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Hey Jay, we got our friend
Yeah.
Patty Barnhart McFeeters on here. She is going to check
Awesome.
out.
Hi, Patty. Good to see you.
She's going to check out and make sure the brothers are behaving. I specifically am thankful she's on here to help me out with this tonight.
Well, oof.
I love it.
Yeah, great,
I love
great
it.
stuff.
So yeah, John. Any real big upsets you want to start us off with? Talk about?
I don't really think there was that major upsets to really talk about this year. It was all pretty. The big dogs won a lot of matches.
What were you watching the women's tournament or
Yes.
watching the men's? Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay,
we're talking
gotcha.
about men's.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, all
oh.
right.
Whoops. I mean, if we
Oh,
want to start it off off, Jay. Let's start with the biggest upset probably in tournament history. Up there in the top 2, at least. Number 16, FDU, upsetting number 1 Purdue, who had a giant on their team, Purdue, and still couldn't get it done. I mean, that was probably
That
the
guy
biggest,
on
best
that
upset of the
that
game.
player, oh yeah, huge. That player on Purdue, he is 7'4". If
Wow.
you guys didn't tune in to watch when I think his last name is Edie. He
Uh-huh.
is 7'4", and he is just a monster when he's on the court. He didn't make a basket for like the last 12 minutes of the game. Like he only had one shot in the
Wow.
last 12 minutes of that entire game. So FDU, what makes it so unique is they were the smallest team
Yeah, it looked like
in the
it.
tournament. Their
Wow.
average height on their team was 6'1". They had no player in rotation taller than their 6'6" freshman. So when we're talking about David versus Goliath, I'm talking about an actual Goliath on the court for Purdue and an actual David being small team, and they won. They beat Purdue. It was unbelievable. I got a notification on my phone and it was like, hey, 7 minutes left and FDU is beating Purdue. And I was like, hey, I got to tune in and watch to see if it happens. And then it did happen. It was insane.
That was probably the one game where like there was like no viewers until the, like you said, the final 7 minutes, and then the viewership just went
Woo!
I gotta,
rocket ship down the skies.
I gotta put this in perspective though, so people have a really good idea. So this this Edie guy from Purdue, John, you're how tall?
About 6'6", 6'7".
6'7". Okay. So to to you, he would seem huge.
Yes.
You seem huge to Jay and I. So I mean, we would be like little gnats flying around this dude. But I have the secret though. I know what they probably did, and I didn't even watch the game. That's the secret that I employed when I used to play with you and some pickup basketball, John.
Uh-oh.
Use every foul that you can possibly use, and then the guy
Yeah.
gets tired of coming in because you're just
Yeah,
hacking on him.
it's true. It's true.
John, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what else to do.
Kirk was a little aggressive back
I
then, John. He's
was. I
sorry. He's
was.
sorry.
I'm so sorry.
He would still be aggressive if we got on the basketball court. It would all come
No,
back out of him.
you'd go right around me, or through me, probably through me.
So
Uh,
one of the craziest thing, because a number 16 seed, John, you said it, it's only happened twice in history where they've beat a number 1. And what makes this one different than the last time it happened, which was in 2018, is that FDU wasn't even supposed to be in the tournament. So they were ranked really bad as far as the 363 Division 1 teams. They were ranked 301. They lost 12 games to Quad 4 competition, which is the really bad teams. And then they lost the Northeast Conference Tournament Championship, which is the only way you get into the seed they lost that championship game. But the only reason they got in is because the team that beat them just came up from Division 2, so they're not eligible to play
That's
in the
crazy.
postseason. So they're like, all right, well, I guess you're in. So no one predicted FDU to do this. And so it was funny. Like I got my bracket got busted pretty quick when the number 15 Princeton Tigers beat number 2 Arizona. I was already done. Well, there were, out of the 20 million brackets, there were still 34,000 brackets correct. Out of 20 million brackets, there were still 34,000 correct. And then after FDU won, 0 brackets left. So the odds of winning this, I feel like, are even harder than winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Like, it is unbelievable how every year there's not one perfect bracket. It's never happened.
The perfect bracket's always the one you make after the games.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And Fairleigh Dickinson, they are now gone as well. They lost to Florida Atlantic. So
No,
in the all initial game,
I
FDU
thought that
FAU.
was I thought that was a funny matchup because Florida Atlantic is an underdog too. You know, like they were
Yeah.
number 9, I think, but they're still
Yep.
an underdog college. They're a
Yep.
very small college, very small program, and then you have to go against that team. So it's like, you know, no, oh, now I'm the big guy. Now I'm the big guy going against
Yeah.
the
Now,
16 seed. Oh,
now
okay,
I'm considered the big.
yeah. Now I'm the top dog. All right.
Oh
So,
man.
touching on some more upsets. Another one from the weekend that really upset myself and Kirk in the second round. You had number 8 Arkansas playing against number 1 KU. And at one point in the second half, I want to say there was about 13, 14 minutes left. KU is up by 12. It seems like it was a typical game that KU was going to win. And then Arizona came back so hot. They were shooting three. They won
Arkansas.
from the 3-point
Arkansas.
line.
Arkansas.
Sorry, Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Arkansas came back. They won from the 3-point line. They were shooting threes. They're making baskets. They only led that entire game. KU led for 34 minutes. They were tied for like 4 minutes. And Arkansas only led for a minute 44. But that's all they needed. They won the game and beat KU. So down goes the Jayhawks. And I knew that they're the reigning champions. I was rooting for them. I know Kirk was rooting for them. I was pretty upset. But I told myself, well, at least I get to cheer on Mizzou because Mizzou's going to play number 15 Princeton. And there's no way that the Mizzou Tigers are going to lose to the nerdy Princeton Tigers. John, what happened?
Well, when I caught into the game, Princeton was already winning pretty easily in the second quarter or second half. And yeah, Princeton had that game locked almost from tip off. Mizzou could not make shots. And I don't know if they celebrated too hard after their first round victory, which was very good against Utah State, but Princeton Tigers beat the Missouri Tigers pretty easily.
By
Yeah.
the final score was by 15 points. At one point they were up by 22. It was just like, what's happening? Why can't I cheer for any teams? I'm done cheering for teams.
But you got to look at that. I mean, with them winning their first round game, Princeton beat Arizona, which was a number 2 seed, and I mean
A
that was
number 2
considered
seed.
a huge upset. So you had to think Mizzou better be on the lookout and be ready to play their best game, and obviously they didn't. So we had two teams that we were rooting for gone within an hour of each other.
Yep,
So
within an hour of each other. It was very upsetting.
yeah,
There were some other big upsets. Number 13 Furman, they won their first game. They beat number 4 Virginia, so that was 68-67. And then also the number 11 Pittsburgh, they beat number 6 Iowa State 59-41. So I mean, all weekend it was some really good games, but just so many upsets.
I want to quickly point out though too. I mean, think about Purdue. The last 3 years, they've gotten beat by a number
Yeah.
16,
Oh,
and then what, a number 15, and then
last
was
year
it
number 15,
uh-huh
and then a number 12
12? Yeah,
before that. So
yeah,
they lost to a number 12 seed, a 15 seed, and a 16 seed. Not good.
yeah. Most coaches would be
Same
gone by now.
same coach, same coach.
Yeah.
Now I have a theory about that, and he's gambling
Okay.
on these games, and
Oh, okay.
he's gambling on these games, and
Okay.
he's making some big splashes. We'll say.
Man,
Uh, I think you might be right.
I mean, to lose 3 years in a row to those type of underdogs, it's pretty good odds if you put
Yeah.
100,000 on that game. You're walking away with.
You know, when you're looking at the people celebrating when they're, showing the different teams celebrating when they find out where they're placed. I mean, think of Fairleigh Dickinson was doing. Yeah, we got the team that gets beat every year by
Yeah.
double-digit seeds. We
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
We can do
We've
this,
got
guys.
this. We can do it.
Oh, that's good stuff. Sad, but good.
So jumping over to some first year coaches, one of the main things I like to follow in college basketball is the coaches. I think it's fun to see what some of the first year coaches can do, and they really shined through this year. So you have number 2 Texas. They have interim coach Rodney Terry. He's done a masterful job steering the Longhorns through former coach Chris Beard's dismal early January, and he's got them into the Sweet 16. First time since 2008 that Texas has made it to the Sweet 16. So I think stuff like that's pretty cool. Also, you've got number 3 Xavier. This is his second stint with the program. This is his first year back. Head coach Sean Miller, and he's got them back in to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2017. Oh, and then there's a longtime Baylor assistant, Jerome Tang. He led the number 3 K-State to the second highest tournament seed in program history, which was the number 3 seed. The Wildcats beat number 6 Kentucky in the second round behind 27 points from their senior point guard, Marquise Knoll. So yeah, pretty cool that Baylor assistant coach finally got his shot as a head coach this year, and he's done really good things.
Hey, can I quickly point out, as far as coaches shining? I mean, now he wasn't a first year coach, but it was a little bit much with the coach from Arkansas ripping his shirt off after the game, and seeing the no tan and really not necessarily a chiseled physique. I mean, come on, if you're gonna do that, you need to kind of be like The Rock or something along that line. It's
He
like,
felt
dude,
like the Rock of the moment.
okay,
Like,
You need to
he
look the
felt
part.
like the
shirt
Rock.
back on. Somebody get a blanket.
Now, did he look extra tan to you guys? Like he planned that out? Like he went
Could have.
tanning
I
before
don't
the game,
know.
and he was like, "If
I
I win, I'm showing this glorious
If
thing
I
off."
win,
I
hello world.
I'm just gonna tell you, I
Hello.
turned the channel right when I saw it. I said, no, I'm not watching that. That is not made for television right there. That is not made for television.
The next game, he'll just have like a wild hog painted on his chest and be shirtless the whole game coaching.
There you have it. Coach Musselman, isn't that his name? Giving him some
How-
props right here on
That is
One Nation.
awesome.
Fitting. Yeah, I think Sean
That
Miller's
is
second
awesome.
stint with the Musketeers, Xavier, is pretty impressive. Being there, he was going against Pitt, and he played college basketball at Pitt, and that was one of the talking points during the game. So, kind of an emotional game for him to be going against the alma mater he played for. So, very impressive run by him.
Yep.
Seems to, when people keep him in check, seems to be a pretty good leader on the team. So,
Speaking of pretty impressive runs, Jay, why don't you talk about these bloods and what happened to them?
Oh, I think you mean the opposite of impressive.
Oh, yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah. The Blue Bloods are completely AWOL from the Sweet 16. This is the second time since 1980 that the Sweet 16 will not include at least one of these 4 teams, and that's Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, and North Carolina. So unbelievable programs, unbelievable school history, and I'm just shocked that one of them is not at least in the Sweet 16. And then it turns out I should be, because it's only happened twice since
There you go.
1980.
You have a reason to be shocked. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, the Duke, the Jayhawks, and the Wildcats they all won their first round. They all made it to the second round, and they all lost. So
Wow.
yeah, pretty crazy.
Tom Brady retires and the sports world falls apart.
Oh, it all revolves around Tom
It
Brady and LeBron
all
James, those two. There you
Falls
go.
around Tom Brady. Wow.
That's awesome. Jay, you got more stuff you want in this part, or you want to go on to the break?
No, I've just given time for you all to throw in your fun facts as well.
Fun facts for you. There you go. Straight
They're
off of Paul Blart, Mall Cop.
they're yeah, it was just we've talked about these upsets, but it's just crazy because you've got number one Purdue dropping, you got number two Arizona, which going into tournament play for the Pac-12 tournament champions. I mean they were just so hot, and then they come out only shoot 3 of 16 from deep, so they lose to the Princeton Tigers. Baylor, another big school, they lose in the second round. This is the second year in a row they've been dropped in the second round after they won the 2020 national championship, which that was their first championship in school history. And now to follow that up, they've lost in the second round 2 years in a row.
Yeah, but it's not
And then
Purdue.
you've got but it ain't Purdue. You ain't wrong. And then you've got number 4 Virginia getting knocked out by a double-digit seed for the third time in the past 4 tournaments. So number 4 Virginia is just acting like Purdue, and so they win a championship in 2019, but for the last 4 years, they're getting knocked out by a double-digit seed.
Wow. That's
So
some
yeah,
tough
it's
times.
just it's crazy. It was a super fun first weekend, especially if you love just watching upsets like I do, because I just watch my phone, follow along, and then I'm like, yes, it's
Time to
upset
watch.
time to watch. I always love watching like the last 7 minutes of these games because they're so action packed, and I love rooting for the underdogs.
Yep, that's what makes sports fun. Is that's why they still play the game. When you have teams like FDU knocking off those giants in Purdue, um, that's why they still play the game, even when they're undersized and literally given no chance. That's why they play
Yeah,
the
that's why
game.
Yep.
that's why March Madness is just so effective as a tournament because basketball is so competitive, but it's so even across the playing field. Like you could have the
Mm.
best player in the entire nation, but that's not going to matter when he goes against 10 other hungry college kids because they're all athletic,
Yep.
they're all fast, they're all hungry, and if you're not hitting your shots, you're going to lose the game.
John, that's a great segue too. As far as you may have the best player in the nation. Well, we've got some great sponsors, and they're the best in the nation as far as we're concerned. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to give a shout out to them. And you guys are doing an outstanding job, and we will be right back.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives.
And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Ever wish you could choose the days or shifts you work each week? You can. At CNS Business Services, they're adapting to the way people want to work. CNS is working with area employers, establishing new, innovative ways to work with flexible schedules. Flexible scheduling is designed to find employment that suits your lifestyle. Whether you're a student, a retiree, or need extra income, flexible scheduling at CNS allows you to decide when you work. Call CNS. Your schedule, you're in control. CNS Business Services.
Say yes to CNS.
All right, like I said, we have got the top of the line as far as our sponsors, and they do an outstanding job not only in our community but right here in mid-Missouri. They reach out everywhere. CNS Business Services and the Missouri Army National Guard Recruiting. They great organizations, great people, and we're thankful to have them supporting us tonight. And Jay and I have having lots of fun having Jay's brother John on here tonight. And I'm excited about this next one because I like this line. Could the tournament have a first-time champion? Go to it, Jay and John.
Yeah, so we've been talking about the heavy hitters, the big schools, the blue bloods, the big brands they're out of the tournament. There's still a couple left, but I mean, when we get down to it, there are some teams left that have never won a championship. So there's been a trend for first-time champions. We've got Virginia. They did it in 2019. They're out of the tournament. Baylor, they did it in 2021. They're out of the tournament. I'm excited to see if we can get a new member of the National Championship Club. And before those two schools did it, you have to go all the way back to Florida when they went back to back, and they did that in 2006, their first one. That was the first time Florida had done it. And so then we had to wait all the way to 2019 to have someone enter this club, and the odds are rising. So, John, out of the 16 teams still left in the bracket, the Sweet 16, 12 of them have never won at all.
Wow. That is kind of crazy to hear, to be honest with you. There's a strong possibility we could have a first-time champ, and I hope we do, to be honest with you. I really like when fresh blood gets in. I don't like when the same teams win over and over again. What I'm hoping is we get maybe somebody not in a Power 5 conference to win the title. That would be pretty cool. I think the last time somebody won not in the Power 5 was probably the Running Rebels of Las Vegas back in the early 90s. I think that was the last time that somebody has won the championship in college basketball and not been in a Power 5 conference.
That's pretty cool. So, yeah, out of those teams left, we've got number 1 Alabama, number 1 Houston. So both of those two number 1s are left. So that would be pretty cool for them to do that. You got number 2 Texas, number 3 Xavier, number 3 Kansas State, number 3 Gonzaga, number 4 Tennessee, number 5 Miami, number 5 San Diego State, number 6 Creighton, number 9 Florida Atlantic. Now let's get out of the Power 5, and the number 15 Princeton. So yeah, those 12 teams are still left, and they have never won a championship. And then 7 of them have never even reached the Final Four. And that's Alabama, Xavier, Tennessee, Miami, San Diego State, Creighton, and Florida Atlantic. So you've got teams who've never even made it to the Final Four. And we've got just under half of them that have never done that. So the odds they're moving in the favor. We're going to have a new member to that elusive club this year.
And that would explain why 20 million brackets have been busted.
Gonzaga.
That explains it.
Gonzaga is probably really happy a lot of those blue bloods are out of there because, I mean, how many times have they been picked to win it all, and now all of a sudden, hey, we got a good chance, 12 out of 16 right here.
I haven't watched any of San Diego State yet. I didn't catch any of their games, but I've heard that they're playing either 9 or 10 guys like 15 minutes almost each game. Like they have a very even playing field. There's not one guy who's playing 30 minutes a game. So I think that's pretty impressive for a college team to be doing. So it
really is.
He says the announcer, I heard him talking about it. He just said they just go after you and they just play all these guys, all these minutes. So they always have fresh legs almost on the court at all time, and they just attack. So I'm calling it now. San Diego State Aztecs, this year's champ.
I was getting ready to say, who we picking right here, Jay?
Wow. I like it. So, John, hit me with it. I'm not as educated as you. Who's not in a Power 5 conference still in this
not in a Power 5 would be Xavier, San Diego State, Creighton, Florida Atlantic, Princeton. Did Houston jump to the Big 12? I don't remember.
Not yet.
So they're not in a Power 5 yet. So Houston would be another one.
Cool.
I still think those two are going to get knocked off.
Watching the kids play this weekend, who I think is fighting really well right now, I'm enjoying watching number 6 Creighton. I did catch both of those games, and Creighton is playing really well. I wouldn't mind watching them win the championship. I'm picking number 6 Creighton.
I am going to say that it's, and I'm tied on this though. It's going to be either Texas or Kansas State. Big 12 wins it another year. Both of those teams are playing really well. Tough outs.
They are.
And that was the toughest
They are.
conference all year.
It was insane watching the Big 12 this year because obviously I'm following KU. And these teams, I've never seen them play so hard like they have this year. I didn't even think KU was going to get a number 1 seed, to be honest.
No.
Just because of how tough the competition's been. They've dropped a lot of games. So I was shocked KU got a number 1 seed. I predicted them to lose in the Sweet 16. They didn't even make it there. So
no.
Just crazy stuff.
Yep. Good. I mean, it's open, like you said. Good stuff.
Yep. So I want to jump over here. I'm going to touch on Miami here real quick. Miami is the only team left for the ACC. So the ACC sent 5 teams into the tournament. And that's in contrast to last year, however, when the league put 3 teams into the Elite 8, 2 into the Final 4. This is one of the first times in a while the ACC will only have a single representative in the Sweet 16. So I think it's crazy that Miami is still the only one hanging in there for them, and that's just with like we've talked about, Virginia losing. Iowa State getting knocked down by number 11 Pittsburgh. Duke entered this tournament so red hot, and they showed that in the first round. They destroyed Oral Roberts, John, destroyed them by 21 points. And then number 4 Tennessee came out, and they just clobbered them. And we were talking with a Duke fan this weekend, and when he saw the number 1 seed get eliminated, he said, "It is wide open for Duke. Duke is going to go all of the way." And that is not what happened. Duke lost, and I was like, "Ha, Duke lost." And then KU lost, and he was like, "Ha, KU lost." And I was like, "Yep,
Now
cool."
To cut you off there, is there ever any year where a Duke fan doesn't think they're going to go all the way? Is there any year? Like, they are not humble at all. Any year Duke's in the tournament, they're going all the way, man.
Yes, they are.
This fan even said, "Hey, Coach K is coming out of retirement. He's doing it. They're going to do it now." What
Hey,
did
real
Devin
quick,
have to say? I want to read that.
Here, I'm going to put it back up so you can see it, and then I'll let you go ahead and read it and respond to it.
It's too small for me to read, Dad. You
All
got
right.
it up bigger?
He says, "I see an FDU Cinderella story movie in the works, but also on Noel, watching him put up 27 points and 9 assists against Kentucky while averaging nearly 10 less in the season and around the same assists. He was playing at another level. Lastly, the NCAA tournament really is special because most teams do not come in playing their best, and after incredible seasons, to see these underdogs knock off so many giants, it is really an amazing thing to witness in sports." Thank you, Devin.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Dude. Devin, welcome to the party. That's exactly what we're talking about. There is just something super special about March Madness. John talked on it earlier, but it's just so much fun. You don't really get this in the professional sports. You definitely don't get this, I feel like, in the NBA. You've got 7 chances, and so I love college basketball. I love the NCAA tournament. It's one and done, and anything can happen. Any of these teams can come out and win, and so it's super fun to watch these Cinderella stories come out, and they go swinging for the fences, and they're winning. It's fun.
Yeah, the only time you get this in professional, like NBA, is Game 7. Like, that's the only time you get this type of competitiveness. Maybe an elimination game, but definitely Game 7 is when you get it. Which still aren't bad, by the way. They're still pretty good most of the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or unless you have Klay Thompson and Dylan Brooks from the Grizzlies trash talking each other, or if you get that, that's fun.
That's fun too. Yeah, I
Yeah,
enjoy that.
fun to watch. I like that. Yeah.
It's good to see passion. That's what we like as fans. We like to see passions from
Passion.
our players during the game. There's nothing worse than going to a game or watching a game and you don't see any passion from any of the players. They're just going through the emotions and they're just, doing whatever they want. When you're a fan of a sport and you like watching the game, you want to see passion from your players. And that's why March Madness is so effective as a tournament. It's just nothing but passion from the coach all the way down to the fan, all the way down to the band member. Everybody's passionate for their team.
Speaking of passion, since Devin plays basketball too, and I don't want to feel so bad about myself. Uh, Devin, I know you know how tall John is. I mean, we're talking 6'7". I mean, he says 6'6", but he's 6'7", 6'8". I always felt like he was like 7 feet tall. But Devin, what kind of defense would you employ against John in a pickup game, knowing that you have unlimited fouls? What kind of defense would you employ? Just think about that while we're talking about some other stuff, and then give us your comments. You can't count that high.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
All
So,
right.
talking about these underdogs, talking about how far they can advance, there is only one double-digit seed left, John, and that is the number 15 Princeton Tigers. And so, in history, 16 double-digit seeds have advanced to the Elite Eight. Only 5 have gone all the way to the Final Four. And most recently, if you remember in 2018, that was Loyola Chicago when they went on that epic run. And then UCLA in 2021 did it. So with so many pre-tournament favorites out of the mix, the path is open for that similar out-of-nowhere Final Four run from one of this year's surprise teams. And so I'm excited to see what Princeton can do and if they're going to keep that going. Do you think they have a chance?
Princeton, they will lose next game, I feel. I think the Cinderella story is going to end there. That's the thing about Cinderella stories. They always end at some point. It's either it's at midnight and the ball's over and you leave your glass slipper on the stairwell, or it ends in this sweet 16 Elite Eight. The Cinderella never gets all the way, and that's just the facts.
Oh man, that's so sad.
Well,
So sad.
there's something about flying under the radar, and you're able to surprise teams. You come out and play super hard, you surprise them. But like you said, now people know about you. Now you're on to the second weekend. They've had a whole week to kind of plan you out. You're not going to catch a team off guard now. So then it turns into pretty epic games. And I've seen some double digit seeds lose pretty gnarly in the Sweet 16.
And I don't want to say the bigger programs have better coaching, but they have better resources. So, while they're moving up in their bracket, those resources these coaches have, that they can get all this game film and all this inside detail that they're grabbing at them before that game's even going to be a matchup. They're like, oh man, number 16 just won. We could play them in the Sweet 16. Let's start researching this team. They have a lot more resources, the bigger programs, that can do these back end looking at these underdog teams because they haven't been paying attention to them, and so their game plan's not ready, but it's there. So if that matchup does happen, they can pull it out and they're ready to start talking about it and looking at it more.
Yep.
John, you were spot on. You were spot on. They have more resources, and I called my mom on Saturday to wish her happy birthday, and it was after Kansas had lost, and she was saying that and she typically likes to root for KU, and she was saying she was glad that they lost. They were a little bit too prideful for her, and that all had to do with when they showed this Selection Sunday, and all these other teams were cheering and excited. Fairleigh Dickinson was excited because they were playing Purdue, and then we had KU sitting there in their recliners with the Jayhawk emblem on them, and in their Jayhawk theater, just sitting there, just going, yeah. Mom wasn't happy, and she wasn't wrong. I'm just gonna say she wasn't wrong.
We deserve this.
They have
That's
resources.
one thing too that I get why you celebrate, but I'm always surprised when the underdogs celebrate so heavily after they upset a team. Like I'm always surprised how like big and they go, because once you celebrate like that once, it to me it mentally turns you down to get ready for that next game. Like if you're already acting like you won the championship after you beat one of those teams, you're already mentally telling yourself like no other moment will be greater than this moment.
Right.
Like you can't cut the nets after just winning that round and being that upset team. You got to save that, man.
Save the excitement.
Save the excitement.
The only team that I support going crazy is number 16 FDU taking down number 1 Purdue. That is something worth celebrating. That coach, I don't know if you guys watched afterwards, that coach was just like, he was like on another realm. He was just like, I can't believe it. I just can't believe we did this.
I get it, but man,
Oh,
if your goal is just to upset, I guess if you take a game by game and that's your goal, that's celebrated. But come on, let's remember what is your end goal. Have the end goal.
No, we weren't even supposed to be here. We lost our tournament. So take that, Purdue. Take that. I'm good. We're going home. Thank you, everybody. I am out of here.
So after they lost that tournament, did they still celebrate? Like they were like, yeah, we're still in. Woo!
I would have.
Like the other teams all
I would
sad
have
and
still been
sorrowful.
celebrating.
They're out there cutting down the nets in that tournament, celebrating because they know they got in the tournament. We don't get the trophy, but we get the victory.
We get the happy meal.
That's so awesome. Did Devin reply to the defense dad on what he would do for John?
I think he said, bite him
sorry,
at the
John,
kneecap.
you wouldn't like my defensive strategy. Yeah, so wear a cup, John. That's how I'm taking that. Wear a cup. He's coming right after you.
Heyo.
So, John, before I wrap up the segment, any other fun things you got?
Nothing really fun off the top of my head, brother. It was fun being on the show with you guys. Thanks for having me on here. Thanks for talking sports. I can talk sports any day of the week, so give me a call if you like talking sports.
Absolutely. It's been fun.
Yeah.
And,
John, why don't you...
New York Jets are the worst team in the NFL, by the way.
Take that, Ryan. You're not here to defend yourself.
Oh, poor Ryan.
John, why don't you tell anyone out there listening where they can hear us laugh with each other, make jokes, and just have a good old time.
Yeah, if you enjoy just hanging out with friends and joking around, you guys want to check out our podcast, Man Child Chronicles podcast. We got a Facebook page, we got a TikTok page, we got Instagram, we got a link tree. So if you can just find one of our pages, you'll find a link tree that'll take you to all our different podcast streaming platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google, pretty much any platform that you can get. And it's just, it's just us joking around, having a good time, trying to have fun. So if you miss having fun with friends in your life, check out the podcast, enjoy the laugh.
That's perfect. So yeah, we love to joke around, have fun. It was pretty comical. I heard someone say the other day they were listening, and it's since mowing season's coming back. We had a guest on, and when he started listening to our podcast, he said he would just listen to it while he mowed his yard. So he would just mow the grass, and he would laugh hysterically, not cut straight lines, and be all over his yard laughing and cutting grass. So yeah, if you're doing chores and you need something to listen to the Man Child Chronicles podcast.
All right, we got my friend Ethan Furnaw came on here. So, hey, Ethan, how you doing, man? Good to have you on here. You have got to go back and check out these guys and their shenanigans, brothers and their shenanigans. Just a few days after St. Patrick's Day, shenanigans.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
Restaurant shenanigans? Is that a restaurant?
I think so. Hey, Jay, you need to have a couple of quick little speed round questions for your brother before we get off here. I mean, we got just a couple minutes, so why don't you do something there?
All right, John, what is your go-to meal? What's your favorite food?
Steak nachos, Mexican steak nachos, chips, cheese, steak. I'm done.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. What's your go-to cereal?
That would be the best cereal ever made from the nectar of the heavens, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Nectar of the heavens, kind of like manna, I guess.
Oh, the sweet manna of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. All right. Let's have the viewers get to know you more. What's your favorite type of music?
I like all types of music. If I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be rock, but there's, to me, many different versions of rock, but somewhere in that rock wheelhouse would be my favorite.
It's funny when I say classic rock, I'm talking about 60s, 70s rock. And nowadays when I say it, the people are like, "Oh yeah, the 90s and early 2000s."
Yeah.
I'm like,
"Oh
hey,
yeah,
buddy,
that
not
alternative
cool."
rock, man, that was good, man. Yeah."
Oh, I love Nickelback. Nickelback was good.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Wait a minute.
Oh my
All right.
goodness.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh man, that's too tough for me to answer. I love all types of movies. Rocky is one of my personal favorites. The whole Rocky series, the Creed series. Man, Forrest Gump is another one of my personal favorites. There's too many good movies just to say one. Top three: Rocky, Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump. But then my top three.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
Jay, what's
I
your
love
top
it.
three?
Avengers Endgame, Top Gun Maverick, and I don't know. I don't know. That third one, there's just so many good ones. Yeah, I don't know. I can't narrow it down. I gave you two.
That's good. And
Don't
I'll
make
go
me do
one.
three.
And I'll go one. I will go one. I would say the movie that probably had the biggest impact for me, and as far as, I'm not going to say favorite entertainment wise, but the one that had the biggest impact on me was when I watched The Passion of the Christ. That leveled me for 5 minutes after the movie was over. Everybody in the theater was just sitting there, just quiet and numb. So I would have to say that one had the biggest impact of any movie I've ever seen. So there it is. John, one other question.
Yeah, because I love being depressed. I love being depressed after a
I know.
movie. Good job, Dad.
I know. John,
I love questioning every decision I made in life.
John, we have one other question. This is something on this program that we have to know. Do you like plain white rice just by itself, or do you have to have something with it?
Just rice by itself?
Plain white.
No. I mean, I could eat it, but I would not be happy eating it. It would be I would be sitting there 5 minutes after eating it, sad and somber.
Okay. Well, that's what we like to call our Ethan Blake speed round question, because Ethan just likes plain white rice.
Wow.
And John, your brother
kid,
literally almost went into a food coma because he couldn't handle that answer.
I'm talking to him, and he was still a senior in high school. We've had him on since he's been to college, and his answer has not changed. And I was like, "Hey man, what's your favorite food?" I always ask. "Oh yeah, plain white rice." And I'm like, "Wait, like with egg rolls and soy sauce?" Like,
yeah,
no, plain white rice with like sweet and sour,
like a Mexican meal on top of it, like.
No, plain white rice. And I'm like, "You're too healthy. You need to go."
Like the white rice they put
Go
on
watch
the
Passion of the
grill
Christ. Eat your white rice.
Mix it all together.
Yeah. Just plain white rice. That's what he said. That's what he meant. Yep. Good stuff. Hey, speaking of good stuff, you guys, awesome program. Jay, why don't you close us out? John, man, thank you for joining us, and make sure you hang out afterwards so we can visit for just a second. So, Jay, go ahead, man.
Awesome. So this has been One Nation, a Sports Locker magazine extra. We've had so much fun tonight. You guys know where to find us. We're here every Monday night at 7 p.m. Tune in, bring comments, bring questions. Had a super fun night in interacting with people. Devin, great stuff you brought tonight. So yeah, catch us every Monday at 7 o'clock. We bring on guests. We bring speakers from maybe people who used to play professional sports. We bring on college athletes, and we bring on local high school players right there in mid-Missouri. And we just love talking with you guys and having fun. So join us every Monday night at 7 p.m. We'll see you guys next week. I'm Jay Gill. I'm the Sasquatch. The host of the show is the Bald Eagle Kirk, and that's my little big brother John. We had a fun time tonight. We'll catch you guys next week. God bless.
God bless you. See you guys next week.